Hello everyone, this is Jeff from Bit Project. I'm starting the webinar a bit early to give everyone time to enter the room. So right now, we're not actually going over anything, we're just waiting for more people to enter the room. How is everyone doing today? I see a lot of goods in the chat, which is like really good. As usual, I'm just going to talk a bit about Bit Project and what we do. And we're basically a student-led organization, and we're creating all these webinars for students like you all to learn from, basically. And we're currently working a bunch with Twitter's API and extracting data from that. So if you haven't already, you can check out a lot of the other webinars we've done. I'm one of the many presenters, but all of us are like really know their stuff, and yeah. Yeah, and throughout the presentation, or throughout the webinar, I will be posting a poll. It's basically asking, are you ready to move on? And you can just answer yes or no. And this helps because I can like see the pace I'm going at and whether I'm too slow, too fast, that, and then I'll like incorporate, depending on like the results, I'll incorporate that into the presentation. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. So in this webinar, we are going to be using a streaming API to download data from Twitter in real time, and we will be, yeah, that's basically, I think that covers most of it. It's just how to use a streaming API and incorporate that into a data frame. So let's get started. Before we do that, I just want to make sure everyone has a Twitter developer account. As we're going to be needing this, this webinar requires the use of Twitter's APIs, particularly their streaming API and Tweepy. If you don't have one, you can go to apps.twitter.com. I will put that into the chat right now. Apps.twitter.com. Copy and paste that link, and you'll be directed to it. You just need to make an account, fill out a quick form. It's a very straightforward process, and once you're approved, you'll have access to your own access key and your own API key. And also, if you have any questions, please type into the chat. I can see everything, so I'll be sure to answer me. Okay, moving on. I'm assuming most of you have a Twitter API key already. If you don't, it's going to take some time for your account to be processed. So what you can do is just use placeholder values, and once you get your API keys, you can replace the values with your API keys. So let's get into REST APIs versus streaming APIs. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with APIs in general, but I'll talk about REST APIs. And REST APIs are basically where you send a request or you send data, that data is processed and you get a response back. So it's one request, one response, or like one send, one, and you get a status code returned. What makes streaming API different is that you send one request and the API continually sends events. And it's basically sending data to you over like basically sending it to you over and over again. So if I made, what we'll be doing is we're making a request to download tweets pertaining to a certain topic, and the streaming API will continue downloading those tweets until we stop it, pretty much. So we only need to send one request. We don't need to keep sending multiple requests with the REST API. So now, we're gonna import Python packages. So create a new Python file and import these packages. We want OAuth handler, and OAuth handler is basically responsible for handling our authentication. With all APIs in general, you're going to need an access key, and this is to prevent random people from accessing the APIs. Yeah, it's not hard to get. It's just make sure that you are who you are and you're able to use the API. We're also going to import stream, and stream is basically where all the data is. We'll get into this later, and we'll be using it later, but just know this is where data for all our tweet data is. And then from tweetb.streaming, import stream listener, and this is the route that information goes through. So we'll be using all of these three, is very important. And also, a button should pop up on your screen. It says Twitter API, and you click it, it will link you to Twitter's the documentation for Tweetbee, and you should definitely check it out because yeah, it's like really good to explore on your own. Okay, people in the chat are telling me that the button has not popped up, so I'm gonna manually put it in here. So give me a second. Okay. Sure. Okay, so does anyone see it now? Okay. Okay, I'm seeing some clicks, so that means people are seeing it. Yeah, I don't know why that is, but it should work now. We'll be moving on now, but after this webinar is over, I recommend that you all go to Twitter's API and check out the documentation. Now we are going to be creating variables to store access tokens. You can see the text here, again, APIs require authentication. This is where API keys and access tokens we received come in handy. So we're just creating the variables. Someone is asking what the difference between the secret API key and the API key are. And that's a really good question. The API key, give me 1 second. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so the API key, well, the consumer API key, or just a regular API key in this case, is going to be your identity. It basically tells Twitter who you are and you're requesting information, right? And the secret API key is it basically tells Twitter what information you're accessing, pretty much. And then your access token is going to be basically tells Twitter what permissions you have, what access to data do you have. So yeah, just import all 4 of these, and the poll is currently in the chat. If you're ready to move on, just click yes, and once I get enough yeses, I will go on to the next slide. Okay, so moving on now, we're going to create a class. We're going to call this STDOut Listener, and it's going to take in stream listener. Again, this is the route where all our data comes through into. So we're basically this class is going to go through all our data. So we'll create our function. Um, if the data is retrieved, then we're just going to print the data and we'll return true. If there's an error, we're going to print the error. So again, the poll is back in the chat. So click yes if ready to move on. If not, then we'll wait here. Okay, moving on now. Or 1 second. I was asking to just view the previous slide for seconds. So sorry about that. We'll just wait here, and then you can just answer it when you're ready. Okay, moving on. So now we are going to set up our authentication. What I want to pay attention to is our if statement. So this is where our auth handler comes in. We can feed it our API keys, and it'll basically confirm who we are, what information we have to, and provide the information. So as you can see, so auth handler, you take the access keys in, and then you call one of its methods, the access token, feed it into your access token and your secret token. And then you can, when we import a stream, you can use stream here, and then call a stream filter. And then we can feed it into a track list. And these can be any hashtag you want. These hashtags are just just the keywords or the key hashtags you want to feed into. You can have as many as you want. And yeah. Okay, again, the poll is in the chat, so if you're ready to move on, just click yes. But feel free to just copy or type out exactly what this is. I also will have these slides in the chat at the end, so you can do them yourself in case you don't see, or in case I'm like moving too fast or have any like questions. So moving on now, we are going to be accessing the data. When we so right now, what we're doing is the class is reading or it's interpreting the data and it's printing out that data, right? So what we can do is we can pipe it to a text file, and that way we can access the data. And what we can do is our file name. Mine is Twitter_data.py, and we pipe it to Twitter data.text. If we ever wanted to stop or in this case, we'll be using this now, but stream.disconnect will basically stop the stream from downloading data, and that is going to be, you don't need it now, but you will be when we play with the function more. But yeah, the data in our .text file will be in JSON format. So it's going to look kind of weird, but we will handle that as well. So like I mentioned before, this is where stream.disconnect comes in handy. Let's say we want to download only a specific number of tweets, right? We're doing a research study and we need 100 tweets. Well, we could leave our program running for a certain amount of time and then stop it, pick out 100 tweets, and download or just do all the other tweets and just use those 100 tweets, or we can edit our program to stop after 100 tweets. So we're going to be using an if-else statement, and it's going to look something like this. This is going to be our new class. So we have a tweet counts, max tweets, stream. So if the tweet count, which is basically the amount of tweets we've downloaded, is less than the maximum number of tweets we have, we want to print the data and increment tweet count by 1. If once this if statement is false and our tweet count is greater than our max tweets, then we'll fall into our else statement, and the stream will disconnect, and our error catching is untouched. So again, the poll is in the chat. So if you're ready to move on, click yes. If not, press no. It seems like everyone has got it. So we'll move on to implementing the data in DataFrame. So if you've done any of the other webinar series, you've most likely created a DataFrame before. So we're going to just import pandas, because pandas is a really great module for data frames. And we're importing JSON because, again, we have everything in a text file in JSON format, but we want it. So that's why we're going to need JSON. So we're going to, what are we doing? So at this point, we're going to convert it to a JSON file using, and this line of code will do that. We'll be using our JSON module to do so, and yeah, we'll be creating an array, and the code is pretty much self-explanatory. It's a for loop that goes through every single tweet we have and appends the data to tweets data, which is our new array that we'll be using. And the poll is again in the chat, so please feel free to. If there are any questions, I'm here to answer. Moving on now. So at this point, we are formatting our data frame, and we're creating the data frame and formatting it all at once. And a lot of this is using Panda to do so. We're going to be pulling into the actual text of the tweet, the username of who wrote it, and the timestamp of the tweet. And this is, again, it's a simple copying and pasting the code, but make sure you understand what's happening. I'm assuming you've watched our video on the data frame, so you know what's happening. But yeah. And once the data frame has been put in, this is an example output that you can expect. You have the text, you have the username, and you have the timestamp. And yeah, it's just basically downloading data. It's really helpful. Well, it's really useful using the stream API. You don't need to send 100 individual requests if you want 100 tweets. and we'll be building on streaming API later on in future webinars. So it's important that you get this down. But yeah, that's going to be concluding our webinar. We've basically using Morture's API, and highly recommend you explore all of TrueView's documentation because there's a lot of useful tools that we did not explore. And I'll be ending the webinar session now, but I will also still be in the chat, talking, communicating with everyone here, answering any questions you might have. Yeah, but so I'll end the session now, but thank you everyone for coming. I hope you all learned something, and I'll see you on the next webinar.